The atrocities we're witnessing in Israel would never have happened if I was president. Would never have ever happened.
Hey, Donald, got a minute?
President.
Mr. President?
It was a big deal.
Not presently. Anyways, why did you miss our meeting?
Golan Heights.
Golfing? Of course.
I also recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
Oh, Golan Heights. You mean that part of Syria which Israel is illegally occupying. And you think that helped the situation?
We would have had no inflation.
Right. Well, to the point.
So horrible what's happening.
Yeah, but what did you mean when you said that the attacks on October 7th never would have happened if you were in office?
I kept my promise.
You would have been tough on them? How so?
Go back 3 years. This is sanctions and all.
Sanctions?
Iran was broke under the Trump administration.
Iran was broke?
Because I wouldn't allow any country to buy oil. But they said, well, I will admit one thing. Not only did we give them $6 billion for 5 people, hostages.
$6 billion from Biden?
Same thing with...
Ironic you would mention that since you approved the same assets to be unfrozen, but the deal didn't go through.
We will return the world to peace through strength, and it'll happen very quickly.
Peace through strength, huh?
So they did virtually no sales of oil, and they were broke. They were broke, and they had no money for Hamas, and they had no money for Hezbollah.
Well, yeah, that's a convenient story for your image.
This would have never happened.
Let me finish. But as usual, it runs contrary to the facts, which is that despite their declining economy at the time, there's no evidence that Iran's transfers to Hamas and Hezbollah decreased during your term. And in fact, you increased animosity from the regime by assassinating Soleimani. So, you really have no track record to back up your delusions of grandeur.
I kept my promise, recognized Israel's eternal capital, and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem.
By kept your promise, you mean you accepted the bribe from rich Israelis to break international law. Stop trying to whitewash your fuckery.
This is an impossible. This would have never happened.
Furthermore, Hamas has declared that the reason for the October 7th attacks was continuous violations of Palestinian life and autonomy, especially Al-Aqsa and Jerusalem. So you directly fueled the fire of conflict with that move.
This would have never happened.
To say you would have prevented it when you increased tensions is backwards logic, as per your usual.
And all of the verbal thrashings that I'd give these people.
Stronger deterrence. Dude, they have cement turrets with cameras and machine guns.
And horrible, horrible results.
Wow, there's one thing we agree on.
If the election weren't rigged, we would have had a deal with Iran within the first week I was back in office. They were ready to make a deal. They were broke.
Well, that's really convenient that you didn't get it done in 4 years, but you would have magically had it accomplished if just you'd gotten voted back in. First week.
What happened? The attack on Israel would have never happened.
Okay, so you're stuck in a delusional mind loop, as usual.
And this guy stopped. You wouldn't have Ukraine?
And Russia's invasion of Ukraine, how would you have stopped that?
Because at $30 and $40 a barrel, he wouldn't be able to afford it. But I say, much more importantly, he wouldn't have done that to me. I told him not to. You can't do it.
Right.
Can't do it, Vladimir.
Because that approach always works with Russia.
And he wouldn't have...
You're such a brain-dead idiot. Huh?
A lot of things are a matter with me.
Oh, I said, it's nice having dictator friends, isn't it?
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me.
You know special things?
The threat from outside forces is far less sinister, dangerous, and grave than the threat from within.
Top secret?
Biden.
Where was the information?
The Hunter. Biden.
Hunter Biden's laptop?
We've just learned through explosive documents published.
Dang, explosive documents? That sounds dangerous.
In other words, Hunter was being paid for access to his vice president father. This is a big smoking gun.
Wow, it's starting to sound like you and Hunter could share a cell and work this out.
I think we should take a drug test prior to the debate.
And you think he's on crack?
For 4 straight years, I kept America safe. I kept Israel safe. I kept Ukraine safe. None of this stuff would have happened. And I kept the entire world safe.
Okay.
I kept the entire world safe.
I know your rallies in Florida believe any whack shit that you peddle, but you're gonna have to do a little better than that. for this audience.
The greatest political scandal in U.S. history.
No. The attempt on your life is not gonna rescue your image or your deplorably managed electoral campaign.
A witch hunt, a horrible, horrible, disgusting witch hunt that should never ever happen to another presidency again, and people should pay for the crimes they committed.
No, it's not a witch hunt. It's called consequences. So I agree, people should pay for the crimes they committed. That includes you.
That I was the most persecuted person in the history of our country. Me, the most persecuted. I never thought it that way.
No, you're not being persecuted, you're being prosecuted. Learn the difference.
I didn't have time to think about being persecuted because I was fighting persecution.
No, you're not a victim, you're a fucking sleazeball.
Please enter your password.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
What's the favorite thing you have in common, Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex. They say I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. One of the worst presidents, and I think without question, the worst president, the most corrupt president, the most incompetent.